Hey guys, Hinch here, and while we're in borderline captivity, I wanted to take the opportunity to show you guys a little bit of my helmet collection. Drivers take helmets very seriously. You know, it's kind of our identity in a race car. It's really the only thing that fans get to see, you know, until an interview after the race. So we take them very personally, and they're very important to us. And I've had a cool opportunity to swap and exchange helmets with guys over my career, and I just kind of want to walk you through some of them, starting right here with this one here. If you are an IndyCar fan, you know this is obviously Dario Franchitti, and this helmet means a lot to me for a bunch of reasons. I mean, obviously, Dario is a living legend of the sport, but he was also very instrumental, you know, for me coming up. When I was in Indy Lights, we had a sponsor that was the same across both of us, so we got to go to different events together and hang out a bit more, and so I got to know him a little bit more than some of the other IndyCar guys before I got up to the big show. And he was always so helpful and was, you know, so willing to give advice and really just kind of walk me through a lot of things, and especially as I made that transition up. And, you know, there are two funny stories that stick out to me with Dario that I can share. The first being, you know, my very first race, which was the second race of the season in 2011, because I missed the first race due to not having sponsorship. I qualified 8th at Barber, and right alongside me on the grid in 7th was Dario Franchitti, and it was a very surreal experience. You know, this guy that I admired for so long and it helped me so much in my junior years coming up, to be right alongside me there for my first race. It was pretty surreal, you know. The hustle and bustle of the grid for the first time, it's a cool feeling, and, you know, seeing that bright red number 10 car was cool to have alongside me. He went on to finish much better than I did in the race, but that's neither here nor there. My second story that kind of, you know, relates to this helmet and to Dario that I thought was funny was a couple races later we're at Long Beach. And we're walking back from practice to the trailers, and, you know, he comes up to me and says, "So, man, how's it going? You know, how you finding everything?" I'm like, "Man, you know, it's good. I think it's going okay, but it's just, it's crazy being out there with some of these guys, and I've watched these guys forever, and it's crazy to think that I'm out on track with them now." And Dario, he puts his arm around me and he says, "Hey, G, my boy, one thing I've learned is you spend your entire life trying to get to this point, and then you get here and you realize you're driving against the same jerks you've been driving against since go-karts." And it was such a funny comment because, yeah, there were guys that I was racing against now that I've been watching since I was in go-karts, you know, your TKs and your Hunter A's and your Dixons, but then there were guys I'd been racing against since go-karts, Marco and Graham, JR, Charlie Kimball, and so it kind of just humanized everybody, and I stopped looking at some of those other guys, those you know, legendary guys as that. They just became guys in the car, no different than a guy I'd known since I was 9 years old. And it really did kind of help me get through a couple of those early races and help me in my rookie season. So Dario's been a big influence on me. Very cool to have one of his helmets in the collection. Nice tribute to his buddy and my hero Greg Moore in the back. So this one's definitely a prized piece. Hey guys, Hinch again, and wanted to show off another helmet from the collection, and this time we're gonna throw back to Mr. Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ryan is, you know, a very good friend of mine. We were teammates back in 2012 through 2014, and now again in 2020 for whatever races we get, which is exciting for me because Ryan's a funny guy. He hates to know that back in 2004, when I was racing Formula BMW, a group of us kids got brought, you know, to an IndyCar driver's trailer to talk to him about how cool it is to be an IndyCar driver, and that was Ryan. We went to Ryan's trailer, so truly inspired me as a kid, Ryan. You really did, and I know it just kills him to hear me say that, but no, he's an incredible guy, obviously an incredible driver, and he's one of my favorite guys to race against, and some of my favorite memories of racing in cars is against Ryan Hunter-Reay, but it's not necessarily always where you expect. Yes, we had some of my favorite back and forth exchanges ever at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway back in 2016. The first half of that race was kind of me, him, and Townsend running around up front there, just changing the lead, running the race, and it really was a real pleasure and privilege to get to race against him like that. But then also the Lucas Oil school cars in, well, I mean, we've done them in California, we've done them in Florida, but every year Ryan and his wife Becky, with help from Tom Vossman from Racing for Cancer, hold this huge event, and it's been an honor to have been asked to have been a part of it the last few years with my wife Becky and myself, and we go out to a racetrack with the Lucas Oil cars. We usually do like a day of golf first, and then a couple days at a racetrack. The last couple years it's been out at Laguna Seca. And at one point during the weekend, inevitably they'll throw Ryan and I in these cars, and we will go out there and absolutely thrash these things within an inch of falling apart, wheel to wheel, side by side through 10 consecutive corners. And even though it's something fun and it's a charity event, there's nothing on the line, there's something about being wheel to wheel with that guy. You can trust him, you know that his ability is there, and we put each other in some hilariously complicated, difficult situations doing that. But we always made it out the other side, and that's true of being in a Formula 1600 car or an Indy car around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it's very cool and a huge honor to have one of these in the collection. Hinch here with another Helmet Chronicles story, and this time we're going to jump into my very good friend Connor Daley. This helmet actually means a lot to me for a lot of reasons. I mean, Connor's like my little brother, and I've known him forever since when he was, in junior formula and then going over to Europe and coming back. He's been a big part of my life in a lot of ways, one of my best friends. But I'm not just a friend of Connor Daley, I'm a fan of Connor Daley. And this helmet means a lot because when I got hurt in 2015 and missed most of the season, Connor was one of the two guys that filled in to drive the 5-car for me along with Ryan Briscoe. And Connor was driving for the race in Toronto, which obviously means a lot to me being the home event. And he got this this custom paint job done up with the maple leafs on it. And, all of Connor's helmets have his little leprechaun guy in the back, and this one's wearing a Hinch helmet, and he's wrapped in a Canadian flag. So this one was kind of, it was almost custom made for me. I told him as soon as the race ended, I was like, you realize I'm taking that helmet, right? You know that. He put up a little fight, but eventually he was okay with swapping it. And more than that, throughout 2015, it wasn't just driving my car that he helped out with. Connor actually moved in with me after my accident when I got home, and really genuinely helped take care of me as I was recovering and rehabbing and trying to get back into a race car. And he was there for a lot of dark days and helped me get through them. And so he was a very, very crucial part of me getting back into an Indy car as quickly as I did and in the right mindset. And I don't know if there's really ever anything I could do to truly thank him and repay him for that. I'm very proud of this guy because he worked his tail off to get his program together for 2020. I can tell you very seriously, having a lot of first-hand experience with this, he has never worked harder than he has to get ready for the 2020 season. But when we eventually do get racing again, I am very excited to see what Connor does because, like I said, he's worked harder than ever before. He's found a sponsor that believes in him. He's got a team that believes in him, and he has a legion of fans that very much believe in him, and I count myself as one of those.
Hey Motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.